Dominique Siebert. I'm the Marine Extension Agent for St. Bernard and Plaquemines parishes. And this is my colleague, Haley Gamble. She's the Extension Agent in the Lafourche Terrebonne area. And so what we're sort of do today is an interactive discussion. And I'm going to turn it over to Haley to give you guys sort of a background and how everything's going to work today.
Awesome, thanks for the introduction. Thank you all for being here and welcome to the final panel of the day. So this is going to be an interactive panel. I know you've all just had lunch, but we're going to try to keep you awake, so no sleeping in here. So let's talk about kind of the focus of this session. We've got 90 minutes, so what are we even talking about? So the focus today, you might have seen opportunities for innovation. We're focusing on innovative strategies with an emphasis on opportunities to grow and survive within different sectors. This survival and growth is a huge concern for the U.S. commercial fishing industry and the broader domestic seafood sector. We're here in Louisiana, and this concern is especially prominent, and it's driven by a combination of factors that I'm sure you all know very well, those being foreign imports, rising input costs, regulatory pressure, and of course impending environmental change. So also something to think about when we're thinking about the industry changing is the number of commercial fishermen in Louisiana declining. It is declining and has been declining. You can see that through the trend on this graph you see of the red line. So you're seeing year and the number of commercial licenses across those years. So you're looking at 1987, you might see 27,000 commercial licenses. This number in 2021 is dipping below 10,000. If you've been to the Louisiana Fisheries Forward Summit before, in 2020 we had a panel very similar to this, a discussion talking about the graying of the fleet. So this also plays an important role when we're thinking about how the industry is changing and opportunities for innovation. So you can look across multiple commodities. I've highlighted shrimp to look at the typical age of commercial license holders. So over the past 20 years, the typical age of a shrimp fisherman has increased 10 years. So in 2000, they were about 43 years old. In 2018, we're seeing a typical age of 54. So you're seeing from 2000 to 2018 about a 10-year increase in the age of fishermen in the oyster industry, crab industry, and even the wild crawfish industry. So what's the format of this session? We do have limited time. I said we've got about 90 minutes for you all to interact as the audience and for these panel discussions. We want to have beneficial discussion and provide some insight into opportunities for innovation. So we're going to do that with moderated panel discussions. So I'd like to take this time to welcome our panel. Thank you all for being here. Dominique is going to give introductions to our panel a little bit later on, and we're going to, of course, hear their input. But we also want your input as the audience. I made a couple of announcements about clickers. So we want you to have a clicker. If you are in any fishing-related private sector business, if you're a vessel owner, a captain, you work at a dock, at a marina, a dealer, a processor, we want you to have a clicker. So if you don't have one, please raise your hand and we will very happily get you one, because we want you to interact with us and be a part of these interactive polling questions. Everyone have a clicker? I'm going to take that as a yes. Please have a clicker. Okay, I also want to note that your participation today is completely voluntary. So any individual responses gathered here today are strictly anonymous. Neither your name nor your company's name would ever be placed on anything. Users of the information will never be provided with any identifying information of participants in the study today. And again, I want to thank you for being here, but also for your time, consideration, and participation. So you all have clickers. You might be wondering, how do I use this clicker? So let's go over that really fast. So there's going to be 16 multiple choice questions for you guys, the audience. These are our polls. So polls will be open for about a minute. And after the polls have closed, so after you all have voted, we will actually be able to see the results and your responses displayed on these screens. So you actually vote by pressing one of the black buttons on your clicker. Everybody see the black buttons? So there are also white buttons at the bottom. Those are the ones we don't really want to mess with. They just make the clickers angry and give us a hard time. So we just want to choose the ones with corresponding letters. Those are going to be letters of A through J. They're going to correspond with answer choices on the screen. This will all make a little more sense once we see a question. So this particular bullet point is bolded and italicized. I'm going to say it a couple times throughout the next 90 minutes. Your answer will be recorded and show up on this screen when you see the letter on your little clicker screen. So we've been saying you have to be patient and also intentional when doing this. So sometimes technology has a mind of its own, as we all know. Sometimes these clickers like to lag a little bit. So I want to reiterate, it just takes a second, but your answer is collected once you see the letter in that little screen. You also kind of have to be intentional, like really press the button. So we've been saying like pointing a wizard wand. The receiver is up here with me, so it's better if you point it at me. It's collected faster. It doesn't seem to lag as much. So also, you can change your answer while the poll is open. So there's going to be two types of questions that we're going to get into in just a minute. One's where you may only choose one answer, and you can actually change your answer. If you didn't like the first one you selected, you can change it. The second type, we might ask you to select all that apply. And in that one, you may choose multiple answers, but you can't unselect an answer. So once you've chosen it, you're stuck with it. All right, let's go through a couple of practice questions just to kind of get the hang of this. So the way this is going to go, I'm going to read the question to you, and then I'm going to tell you that the poll is open. You're going to know the poll is open when a picture shows up on the screen. I'm going to read you the answer choices and give you enough time to put in your response, and then I'm going to close the poll and we will look at the results. All right. So question 1, we want to know how far you traveled to get here today. So we just want you to choose one answer on this one. So I'm going to open the poll now. The picture is up and the poll is open. So A, did you travel less than 25 miles? B, 26 to 50 miles. C, 51 to 75 miles. D, 76 to 100 miles. Or E, more than 100 miles. I'm getting some responses, so some of them are working. I'll be honest, we've been playing with these things for a little while, so I do know the patience aspect is important. So sometimes you do just have to wait for a minute after you've selected your response.
Come up with a square with a cross on it.
Well, that's not what you want.
We'll get another number.
Do what?
We'll get another, there it is, now it is.
Now it did it. Okay. So we're also hoping, that's why we've got practice questions. We're hoping these will warm them up a little bit. And then we'll be able to. You got it? It loaded now?
Who was it that had a square with a cross? Give me that one, I'll take it back. See if that one works. Yeah, try it again.
Do it again. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to read the question, the answer choices again. So the question is, how far did you travel to get here today? A, less than 25 miles. B, 26 to 50 miles. C, 51 to 75 miles. Or D, 76 to 100 miles. Or E, more than 100 miles.
So you want to answer it one more time?
Nope, once you've answered it, then you're good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll now, and here are our results. So you see an even distribution? We have a couple people who traveled more than 100 miles to get here today. Thank you guys for coming. Even if you traveled less than 25 miles, maybe you traveled 2 blocks. Thank you for being here. All right, let's move on to a new question. Question 2. Why did you come to the Louisiana Fisheries Forward Summit? So this is one of those where you select all that apply. So you can choose multiple answer choices here. You just can't unselect one. All right, the poll is open. The picture is up. So A, you came to learn mainly about fishing technology. B, fishing regulations. C, business opportunities. D, you came because it was free and they gave you free lunch. E, other. So again, you can select all that apply. You could select all of them if you want to. We're getting responses a little faster this time. I hope that's good. Okay, so I'm hearing it also helps to get it kind of high and point it down. So the receiver is right here. This white cord, there's a yellow light. That's where it's receiving your vote from that clicker device.
And the little light flashing green once
So yes, there will be a green light that flashes. We have found that the light does what it wants to do, but we know that it records when you see the letter on the screen. So the green light is a good indicator that your clicker is doing what it's supposed to do, but your answer is recorded once you see it on that screen. And again, there sometimes is a lag with when you press the button and then you actually see your answer on there.
But I'm one of these cities you can move on to. And only done it.
So Haley, one thing to reiterate is that if they choose more than one option, you're not going to see all the options on their screen. Doesn't mean that they're not being recorded. There's only one little screen there, so if you choose 6 options, these devices are recording them, but you're not seeing. You just see the first one. Okay. A little bit of faith there for that because the screen's doing so good.
Yeah, so you just have to be patient too. If you're choosing multiple answers, you might have to be patient between each click. They're going to be recorded when you choose multiple answers. All right. We've got one more practice question after this. I'm going to give about 3 more seconds and then close this poll. 3, 2, 1. All right, so here's what we're seeing. So not a lot of people only came for free lunch, so that's good. I'm glad you came, and I hope that today has been beneficial for you, and I hope that this panel continues to be beneficial and results in good discussion. All right, last practice question. So we want to know how often do you normally attend public fishery meetings? So please only choose one answer on this one. So the poll's not open yet, so your vote will not work if the poll is not open. Remember, the picture has to be up before you choose your answer. So it won't work unless that picture is up. All right, 3, 2, 1, now the poll is open. So A, do you normally attend public fishery meetings frequently? I'm sorry, that's A, frequently. B, occasionally. C, rarely. Or D, never. Also, you are here today at a fishery meeting, so the chances are never would not apply to you. These can be task force meetings, Sea Grant meetings, association meetings, committee meetings, community meetings, anything, any kind of meeting where you've met to discuss something to do with your industry. All right, I'm going to read the question one more time and the answer choices. So how often do you normally attend public fishery meetings? Choosing one answer for us. A, frequently. B, occasionally. C, rarely. Or D, never. I'm going to give about 10 more seconds before I close this one. I don't see any more clickers waving up in the air, so I feel like that's a pretty good sign. Most people are in. So let's see. Well, someone wasn't even here today because they never go to public fishery meetings. But but that's all right. But it seems that a lot of you frequently attend public fishery meetings, so maybe that was a mess up. Maybe it was. Sometimes I feel like I'm not here too. All right, let's get into some background questions. We want to know a little bit about our audience, about you guys. So let's do that now. The age-old question of how old are you? Okay, so we only want you to choose one answer. Again, the picture is now up, so the poll is open. A, you're under 30 years old. B, 31 to 44 years old. C, 45 to 59 years old. Or D, over 60.
If you recognize the picture, you might be
Yes, if you recognize, if that is you on the screen, you might choose D. Again, this is also not how old you feel, but how old you actually are. Seems to be going faster now. We're getting more responses. You guys were just really excited to put in your age. I don't know.
We may be old, but we're not that slow.
No, I know you're not. All right. About 10 more seconds. All right, let's see some results. So pretty even distribution. Seeing big chunks of the older crowd, but that's okay. I'm glad you're here. That just means you have information to share with us. So thanks for coming. All right. Question 5. What best describes your employment role in the commercial seafood sector? So we want you to choose one answer here. I'm going to go ahead and open the poll. So A, business owner. B, owner and operator. C, employee. Or D, other. So I realize that some of you may and probably do have multiple roles, but here we're looking for the answer that best describes what you spend the most of your time doing. So again, best to describe your employment role: A, business owner. B, owner and operator. C, employee. Or D, other. Yeah?
I keep getting a red light
Well,
I'll give it there.
get a new one from Rex.
Here, where you at?
I got some over here.
We assure you, we tested all of these yesterday like 3 times.
You like to point the flat part like this.
Raise our hands.
I would do that.
Okay, so also, if you see a red light, don't keep pressing. Please don't. That's like when your computer goes down and you just keep pressing the buttons. That really doesn't help. So please, if you see a red button, just give it 1 or 2 seconds and then try again. Well, don't do that either. Come on now. I didn't pay for it, but I really don't want to. All right. Okay, before we lose any clickers, I'm going to close this one. All right. So it looks like we have some people doing multiple things in this room, but a lot of you are owners and operators. All right, moving on to question 6. What business category best describes your commercial operations? So please again only choose one answer. The poll is now open. Picture's up, so you can choose your answer. Choose A if you are a commercial fisherman. B, a dock or buyer. C, a seafood processor. D, seafood retailer. E, charter captain. Or F, other. So this is similar to the previous question. I do realize that some of you might operate under more than one of these choices, but we're looking for the choice or the answer that best describes your role, what you spend the most of your time doing. Want me to read them again? We don't have it all. So again, that's A, commercial fisherman. B, you spend most of your time being a dock buyer. C, a seafood processor. D, seafood retailer. E, charter captain, or F, other. Okay, I haven't heard any clickers hit the wall, and I'm not seeing them in the air, so we're going to give about 3 more seconds. All right,
X, how many cell phones in this room? That's all.
so let's see. So it looks like we have over 50% of us in the room, of you guys in the room, are commercial fishermen. Don't have any charter captains in the room. A couple operate under other commercial operations, but that's great. We have people in the audience who can represent multiple sectors. All right, so which fishery category accounts for most of your commercial operations? So please choose one answer. Not yet, don't you? I see you guys clicking. I see you clicking. Not yet. The poll is not open. All right, the poll is now open. Please select your answer. So A, shrimp accounts for most of your commercial operations. B, oysters. C, crab. D, finfish. E, crawfish. Or F, none of the above. So again, we know that you might harvest more than one species, but what fishery do you commit most of your time to? Do you spend most of your time with? That's okay. There's a learning curve to everything. I've been messing with those clickers for about 2 months, and I almost really did throw them at the wall. So you're not alone. Trust me, you're not alone. But I promise we did test them yesterday, and they worked. So, all right, I'm going to close this poll, and after, well, I'm going to close this poll now at 3, 2, 1. Okay, so it looks like almost 60%, 59% of the room say that shrimp is a fishery category that accounts for most of their commercial operations. But we did have responses for all of these commercial operations, which gives us a diverse group of people in the room. Thank you for this response. All right, so number 8, in the past year, how much of your household income came from the commercial seafood sector? So we're asking you to choose one answer. This is a percentage. So the poll is now open.
Are we talking earned income?
So I do want to remind you first that everything here is anonymous. We're looking for the percentage that comes from the commercial fishing industry. So if there's other income sources, we only need the portion, we want you to share the portion that came from commercial seafood income. Don't growl at me, come on.
You didn't really answer the question.
Okay, well, A, less than 25%, B, 26 to 50, C, 51 to 75, D, 75 to 100, or E, none of them.
I could be none.
What?
I could be none. Still less than 25 or.
Well, you could have just had,
If you lost money, you didn't earn it, so it's E, none of the above.
You retire.
Sure.
That's less than 25.
The guys that walked in off the street for free meals.
Hey, for a king.
Well, somebody got a license, they just don't fish.
if you point it towards me, it still is not showing up or down.
This is my third one, I don't think it like this
Okay.
spot.
Come sit up high.
Could, we don't bite you if you wanted to move closer and see if it would work, but I see you've been doing that for,
Yeah,
Here's a backup.
He's gonna get the cancer. He pointed up, he's gonna get the cancer.
no. We've been saying, it's like pointing a wizard wand, that was the best way we could get it to work.
Like I'm going to push me too many times, Rodney.
no, I only push it once. They red, isn't it?
Green now, works.
Turn green.
Sit down.
So see, so the, wait, sit up here.
I'll be back.
Okay, well, we want to be able to record your answers, so
It's
we,
an exercise program.
that's right, you have to work off the jambalaya for
Rodney,
lunch.
sit by me up here.
All right, I'm closing this poll. All right, so we're seeing a lot of the answer D, 75 to 100%. Over 52% of you guys in the audience answered that. All right, let's move on to now ask who buys the majority of your catch. So again, choosing one answer for us. All right, the poll is open. The picture is up. So who buys the majority of your catch? A dock buyer. B, seafood processor. C, chefs or restaurants. D, grocery or retail stores. E, consumers. Or F, other. Yes, so the poll is open now. We've gotten over half of our usual responses. Ms. Racy, are you voting?
Yes, I am.
All right, all right.
You don't hold it, just push.
Yeah, I know, I've done that.
Is it working any better, Mr. Rodney?
No,
Oh.
Point it at her.
throw it out.
Oh, well, that's okay. Well,
It works.
all right, got it. Okay, about 10 more seconds. We've got almost all our responses in, looks like.
Battery might be low.
Yep, they might have checked it within 5 minutes.
All right, 3, 2, 1, and showing some results. So we didn't have anybody choose that they, who bought the majority of their catch was either grocery or retail stores or F other. But we see a lot of people selling to docks or buyers, seeing some people interacting with seafood processors and of course chefs and restaurants, and then directly to consumers. So a good mix. Okay, question 10. In what Louisiana coastal area, basin, of course, does most of your business activity occur? So again, we just want you to choose one of these answers. The poll is now open.
Hell's not up there.
What now?
Hell's not up there.
Well, no, I didn't put that one up there, no. But A, Calcasieu Sabine. B, Vermilion, Cote Blanc. C, Terrebonne, Timbalier. D, Barataria. E, east of the Mississippi River. Or F, none of the above. So the picture corresponds generally with these answer choices. So we want to know in which of these basins do you conduct most of your business?
I found what the problem, he sat by me, now mine's not working.
He gave you the ick, the clicker ick.
It's just close, it's Laura.
Oh.
It might be my mom.
We got a hard one.
Yeah, it might be walking.
Well, we're over halfway done. But then please don't throw it at the wall. Still don't throw it at the wall. All right, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to close this one. So we're seeing 37 and 33% coming from Terrebonne, Timbalier, and east of the Mississippi. So a lot of you all conduct your business there. Nobody from Calcasieu, Sabine. I guess we'll give them a pass. That's pretty far, but we're glad all of you are here today, and we kind of like this insight to look into where you're conducting the most of your business activity. All right, so at this time, we're going to switch gears a little bit and go into challenges and talk about opportunities, of course, opportunities for innovation. So at this time, before I get into the next question, I'm going to hand it over to Dominique, and she's going to give introductions of our panel and welcome them again.
So this has by far been the most interesting clicker session that I have been a part of. You guys are making it great and you're keeping it moving forward, and no one has thrown anything, so I'm pretty happy. Okay, first up, all the way to my left, is Angie Porche. Angela's Company's Faith Family Shrimp Company buys fresh and frozen shrimp from commercial fishermen year-round. Their plate frozen shrimp is sold to catering companies and consumers. Their IQF shrimp is sold to factories and through retail. Recently, her company has started drying shrimp at 2 of their facilities and has begun to introduce this product to their customers. Welcome, Angie. Next we have Brandy Shelley. She works alongside her father, Terry Shelley, at Shelley Farms in Port Sulphur, Louisiana. Together they run an oyster shucking house, are oyster dealers, and are traditional oyster harvesters. Within the past few years, they have decided to expand and try oyster aquaculture farming with cages. Welcome, Brandy. Next we have Charlie Robin. Charlie is a 7th generation commercial fisherman. He has been shrimping on the same boat his father built 53 years ago. With the help from his wife Lisa, Charlie has expanded his business to direct marketing and public sales and has been doing it for the last 5 years. He's also a key participant in the St. Bernard seafood market. Welcome, Charlie. And finally, we have Kimberly Chauvin. She's part of the owners of David Chauvin Seafood Company, multiple vessels, a processing plant, fuel and ice houses, and deals primarily with shrimp. She has been deeply entrenched in this industry for 36 years. She has lobbied locally at the state capitol and in Washington, D.C. numerous times. In 2016, her company expanded into the tourism business, and she also has a seafood shop and direct marketing sales. So everyone, welcome our panel. Thank you for coming.
All right, so we're back to the clickers again. So we want you to answer number 11. So which of these factors do you think has had the greatest economic burden on your area of the fishing industry? So please choose the one you think has had the greatest economic burden. The poll is now open with the picture. So A, imports, B, operating costs, C, regulations, D, environmental change or changes in water quality, E, other factors, or F, no burden. So I know I'm hearing some all of the above. So we want to kind of facilitate discussion, which is why we're forcing you to choose one of these answers, or only allowing you to be able to choose one of these answers. So we want to kind of get what you think has the greatest burden on your area.
It's you, bro. It's you.
Oh.
You stepped a half a foot away from you and it went to work. You got the greenery on.
Got something on me.
The Rougarou got you.
It's contaminated. You need to go make your 3 X's on Maria Lowe's grave before you
So
go.
I'm going to read them just one more time. So which of these factors do you think has had the greatest economic burden on your area of the fishing industry? A, imports, B, operating costs, C, regulations, D, environmental change, E, other factors, or F, no burden. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. We're going to see the results. So I'm going to take a look at these results, and then I'm going to hand it back to Dominique, and she's going to be able to get some input and discussion from our panel. So we're seeing over half of you in the audience chose imports as the greatest economic burden on your area. So let's talk about that a little more. I'm going to hand it over to Dominique.
Okay guys, so I don't know if you guys can really see it, but imports have been overwhelmingly chosen as the greatest economic burden. So what are some economic burdens that you guys are seeing in your industry, and do you agree with what the audience chose?
I agree with the audience. I mean, it's been imports because if you look at our depressed prices from this past year, it has shown that Ecuador, Indonesia, and India have slammed us with imports, and it's making it harder to sell shrimp to grocery stores, I mean, if you're doing direct to a consumer, that's a little different on that part. But when you're dealing with restaurants and stuff, you have to compete with price, and there's no way to compete with Ecuador.
So recently I just texted one of our big buyers and I said, how are sales? And he texted back, miserably slow. So we've got 8 to 10 weeks before another May season opening, and they're not moving product. So it's going to be tough if they don't start moving product.
Okay, thank you, panel. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, which of the following is most likely to improve the profitability of businesses in your sector? So this is one where you can select all that applies, selecting multiple answers. So I'm going to go ahead and open the poll. The poll is now open. So A is better business planning. B, improving product quality. This could be through utilizing new seafood technologies. C, direct marketing to the public. D, value-added products. E, pursuing new species. F, expansion or consolidation. Or G, improved seafood marketing. So which of these choices, or all of these choices, you may select as many as you want, is most likely to improve the profitability of businesses in your sector?
Is it open?
It is open. Okay, I'm going to read them one more time. So A, better business planning. B, improving product quality. C, direct marketing to the public. D, value-added products. E, pursuing new species. F, expansion or consolidation. G, improving seafood marketing. So I'm going to give a little extra time. I know you're probably trying to choose multiple, and that is hard. So again, if you do see a light, please give it a little bit of time before you try to select another answer so that it will record all of them.
There you go.
Next up, program.
Yeah. I get enough of that. Huh? That's it. So I print between the sheets for daily.
All right, about 10 more seconds on this one. You guys getting in up here? Okay. Don't give up on us, Mr. Rodney.
I got 1 out of 4, so
Okay, well, it's in there. It's in there. It counts.
I got it.
One of them is in there. All right, good. All right. Well, the good part is now we're into the discussion question. So we can formulate some discussion with the panel and be able to talk about this a little more. All right, so the poll is now closed. Let's see what answers came in. So you guys were able to select multiple answers. So I'm gonna read the percentages of the answers just so our panel knows. I know they can't really see over there. So the percentage of the audience that chose A, better business planning, was 11%. B, improving product quality was 4%. C, direct marketing was 25%. D, value-added products was 11%. E, pursuing new species, 7% of our audience chose that. And F, expansion and consolidation, 12%. And improving seafood marketing, 32% of the audience. So I'm going to turn it over to Dominique.
All right, panel. So, if you guys want to give us a little insight into things that you feel has improved the profitability of your business, or things you may have wished you had to improve that profitability. I know the audience sort of overwhelmingly chose improved seafood marketing, and that would be great to really improve the marketing of Louisiana seafood, because I feel like we have the best seafood in the world, right here in the state of Louisiana. And I would love to see more marketing towards that. But what do you guys think? What do you think is something that would really help with the profitability?
I think with the seafood marketing, you gotta move it back to where it used to be. Norby Jalbert, as a senator, took it and made it an advisory board, and so people feel like they have no voice left on the seafood board. So I think that you would have to get it back to where it is a board, a working board, and then start marketing, using that money to actually market shrimp and crabs. And I'm not sure how it works with crawfish because you have farm raised and you have, spillway, so I guess whatever they put into it, you'd have to do that, but the marketing is lacking. We lack marketing on that part of it. I know that you can do your own through social media, so there's that.
We take, and the more people we could get out to sell our shrimp, and most of the time, it's the product that we produce sells itself. But educating the public on it is the thing that we try to do most of all, because there's a lot of places out there that's accepting Ecuador shrimp, and I'm gonna tell you something, when I seen these shrimp, it was unreal. We in trouble. And they really can slide them shrimp off the wild caught shrimp with no problem. Now the taste of the shrimp is gonna be the ticket. People taste our shrimp and they can tell the difference. All over the country, people come down and they come and buy our shrimp, and I have customers that's come as far as Michigan, Ohio, and they come straight down to me just to get that shrimp because they know what they're getting and they're not being mislabeled. And this is only me trying to do it. And, going to these markets and stuff that we do, we preach that. And then on, our social media, we do it also. This is what you get. And that way the public's not being, misinformed. So, we need more of that. Education.
Yeah, we definitely have the best seafood in the world. My husband always says that. We lack commercials, we lack advertisement. We need more of that. And if we had that, more people would come down and get our product.
But they know it's coming off the boat. They once they know who you are, that your name is behind it. And yeah, that's guaranteed shrimp. That's why. So.
You got to be very picky about what you do to your customers.
I would say personally, we need a different law. We need that DHH law that has some teeth in it, that go to the restaurants, because we don't have DHH going in there looking at the labeling law. That's been a big problem, for the class since it's been in effect. And so we need to do more lobbying of officials, senators, representatives, wherever the bill is going to be at in the first part of it. And we need to do our part, emailing them, calling them, and making sure that it has teeth to the bill. And I know that ACN are working on the DHH bill, but I can tell you, I almost think it needs to be pushed over to the enforcement side of wildlife and fisheries. Because wildlife and fisheries loves to give out some tickets. So, DHH is not giving out these tickets. And so I think that it needs to have a bite to it, which we lack on that part. Right.
Well, down in St. Bernard, we had recently passed an ordinance to, we are trying to outlaw imports in St. Bernard Parish now. So I know it's a big gamble. I like to see how they're going to police this, and, we just try, it's got to be a start someplace. So we try and we'll see how that goes.
Who polices it?
Well, I'd like to know that myself, but, the parish government has something to do with it.
So it's DHH in your parish?
It's your health unit in your parish that's gonna.
Because I've mentioned it in Terrebonne Parish, I've been working with a few people and mentioned it, but I would almost rather wildlife and fishery.
Well, in St. Bernard Parish, they had to change a lot of their laws on their health issues and everything, their health department.
Right, you go at it for health, because it is a health risk,
Right, and they
when
had
you're
to
dealing
kind
with
of like
like.
change it on one side to make the, ban stronger.
Okay.
So, Brandy, did you want to make a comment?
For me personally, with being on the oyster side of the business, I feel like improving some quality on our side, being by the river with the high rivers on occasions decreases the salinity of the taste. The oysters lose the taste. And then using new innovative processes like wet storage to dial up the salinity that you would like, which would make it more appealing to the marketers.
So that's a great point, and that's what the audience said, that 25% of them said improving product quality would definitely be a big bump for them. And then, you know, there are a lot of people that say we improved our quality, our products could compete better in the market. So does anyone else use anything that sort of improves the product quality?
We actually cryogenically freeze, and we also shadow pack, and we brine freeze. So we do 3 different types of freezing, and it goes to 3 different types of customers.
And just to clarify, we don't use it yet. We purchased the system and we're in the process of trying to figure out the kinks and how it's going to work to make the product more appealing.
And Charlie, I know that you freeze directly on the boat, so you catch it and freeze it. Do you find that that improves the quality and its shelf life?
The thing that I've been doing it for 5 years, and I've been doing different things. I'm always experimenting, but I'm experimenting on my product. I don't sell outright what I experiment with. And until I can, you know, the bottom line is to take our product and produce it off the boat, from the boat to the freezer. The faster you do it, the better the shrimp, the life of the shrimp. But then again, on the boat, it's just like when you put it in cold storage. It's a steady job. You gotta maintain the temperature. Temperature is the key thing about it. And you gotta maintain your freeze at your home, or wherever you'll be freezing your product. It's gotta maintain a certain temperature. You gotta stay behind that. If you're not, your product don't have a long shelf life. So, but the trick is, the most quality I get out of mine is that as soon as I catch the shrimp, I'm chilling, I'm washing them, weighing them, and I'm chilling them. I'll bring them down to 36 degrees, and then as soon as I take them out the chiller, they go in a bag in a box, and that's 20 below in the hole. So, you know, that's the process that I'm doing, and I find it's working the best. But there's something better, and I'm just trying to get to that point. Once you establish, then, you know, you can hold your shrimp a little longer if you need to hold. You know, because right now I can hold some shrimp, depends on when I catch it. I find the colder ones, they hold a lot longer. The hotter ones, I get about 2/3 of the shelf life than a winter shrimp. So, because, you know, you catch them in cold water, you catch a shrimp that's at 70 degrees, you know, you got to hurry and try to chill them down. So that's the key.
That's great. Thank you, guys.
The other thing that I would say is having a backup plan. When you have freezer stuff, you better have a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
Backup.
I think we all know what it's like to lose power for weeks at a time.
Electric goes out,
Hurricanes.
yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next question. So what prevents you, or which of these might prevent you from pursuing the avenues that we talked about? So this is one where you can select all that apply. So I'm going to go ahead and open the poll now. So A, there's a lot of choices, so I'm going to read them a couple times. So A, time, B, money, C, practicality, D, impending environmental changes, E, a lack of knowledge, F, fear, G, age, or H, other. So again, I know it's very hard to click multiple of these, but we do want you to choose all that might apply here. So there are a fair number of choices, so I'm going to read them all again. So which of these, what prevents you from pursuing the avenues that we discussed in the previous question? A, time, B, money, C, practicality, D, environmental changes and impending environmental changes, E, lack of knowledge, G, age. You might just feel like you're past the point of wanting to learn something new or changing. Or H, other. You're tired. Sure. Sure. See a couple more people adding some answers, so I'm going to give about 10, 15 more seconds. But we've got almost 30 responses. How's yours working, Mr. David? Is it working? You're super close, yeah. Is it working?
Mine's working good.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
gotta hold it down for a little while before it works.
Okay, gotcha. All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's nothing. Just a second. Okay, here we go. Here's the results. All right, so I'm going to read them again just so our panel knows, because it's a little hard to see. So, which of these prevents you, from pursuing these avenues? So A, time was 23% of the audience. Money, 31%. 11% practicality. Environmental changes, 9%. Lack of knowledge was 9%. 0% for fear. No fear here. 14% for age. And 3% other. So, to Dominique.
Okay, now, our three top choices were time, money, and age. We're not surprised to see age. We saw earlier that our industry as a whole is approximately 10 years older than it was in 2000. So I get it. I'm younger than some of you, and I feel like I am too old to learn something new every day, but I'm forced to do it anyway. So, sometimes age will play a factor in it. I mean, there's someone up here who is the oldest, so how do you feel about people saying that age prevents them from doing something?
I feel my age is getting high and my money's getting low.
Not singling you out.
Do you
I'm trying to spread the wisdom without age.
So have you guys sort of seen the same challenges? Do you feel like time's an issue and money's an issue?
The thing is that especially things that we try to do, is that, a lot of people don't understand what we're doing is very time worthy. It takes a lot of time, and you're on the edge. You're not that comfort no more. You always hear the compressor running back there, and my wife has said that compressor went off. It's on a defrost mode. But it makes you that way, because you worry about the product. Well, so what we try to do, I have two sons that fish for a living. They also coming behind us. And we're getting at that age that we're trying to slow down, but it don't look like that's ever going to happen. What you said, you said that the commercial fishermen went up to the age of 50-something? 54. 54?
The average age.
We'll die on the boat.
But what we have,
Yeah, I think some of it is that people are working 14, 16 hours a day, so time is like something that we lack on that part of it, because you're already taking up so much of your day in work, and whether it's on a boat, whether it's on a dock, whether it's in a plant, you're always working and doing something, so that is. And we don't have a lot of profit in this business, and so every loan you take out there are some fears that come with that. You want to have faith that you're going to make it through it, but man, sometimes it just looks bleak, for that, and you have to pull it by the bootstraps, and you're going to have to figure out something new to do to get out there and get your product out there. And it's tough when you're looking at, how do you compete with a product coming in and your own government kind of working against you, and you're sending money to all these countries, yet you're having your own industries inside the country go down.
I would say money, we're having a money problem. Since inflation, everybody that comes work on your equipment is $100 an hour. So, adding all that up, recently we had two of our boats had breakdown after breakdown on the freezer systems, and it's like, oh my God, where are we going to get the money to pay all these people? We really need new freezer systems on our boats, and at this point we can't afford it. So what do? Do you try to sell the boat? Do you rob Peter to pay Paul? Do you pull out your savings? Do you make a loan? You know what I'm saying? very frustrating. You know, I told my husband this morning, I said, we got to pray for wisdom to figure out what to do and just for a breakthrough. We really all need a breakthrough at this point.
Gotta have faith. With the vote, the definition of vote, break out another 1,000?
Yeah, Randy wants to tell.
Me, I would say money and impending environmental change, because money's gonna affect everything, and then you're going, especially in the area we are, where hopefully not gonna have to deal with the diversions, but have to keep in the back of our minds that it is coming down the pipeline, and how much money do we continue to put into the same business, in the same area that we're in, knowing that there's a possibility that we're gonna lose everything. And then we're getting some help from like Steve Grant and organizations, but just looking at the differences in like different countries. What I had toured Canada and went up to PEI, and the amount of support that the fishermen there and the companies there get, and the tax write-offs they get, and you buy yourself 200 cages and they're gonna equal what you buy. So every farm I went to had just stacks and stacks of brand new cages. It's like, how do you get the money to buy all of this? And for us just to try and sit here and do that and to put that kind of money back into the system that we hope we're gonna have in 20 years, but don't know, it's just a tough pill to swallow.
So when you say support, you mean financial support from the government in Canada?
Yeah, they get a lot of tax write-offs. They get like 50-50. I'll buy you 50 cages, then if you buy yourself 50 cages, I'm gonna buy you 50. The government actually will put in and buy the former 50 cages also. So what the amount of money that they spend, the government matches. So it was like every single farm we went to, we were like, man, every farm we go to has brand new cages just stacked up, and we questioned. And then they started saying about all the support that they had for that industry from the country and the government. I'm like, it would be nice to get some support, but
We like that in Louisiana. They do not see the importance of the seafood industry, and we've come across that time and time again when we've been up there lobbying, either from the state side. It's like you're forever having to teach someone about the industries every single time, and then they still kind of shove you off to the side.
yeah, and oysters, they want us to be innovative. They want us to not say, oh, we want it to be the old way. We need to try and figure out a new way of living. Well, we're trying to do that, but we still have to keep in the back of our minds, yeah, we're going from wild oyster into aquaculture, but we still have to deal with the diversions. Our oysters are not going to get up and walk off and go to the west for them to survive. So what do? We have 3 different oyster businesses. Do we pick up all? I have 4 family members working under my dad, all in 3 different parts of our oyster company. Does every family pick up and move? Do we move every single business we own to the west? And then all of our leases are in the Fort Sulphur area. So it's just a lot of questions of why, how, what do you do? Yeah.
Thank you, panel. Okay, moving on to question number 14. Which of the following innovation strategies could you reasonably pursue to improve your chances of surviving in your sector? So again, we are asking you to choose one answer. So the poll is now open. Pictures up, poll is open. So, which of the following innovation strategies could you reasonably pursue to improve your chances of surviving in your sector? A, direct marketing or public sales. B, alternative oyster culture. So like what Brandy was talking about, growing these oysters in cages. C, ecotourism. D, pursuing new species. E, improving product quality. So this could be something that you do on the boat. F, microprocessing and packaging. So this could be something that's off the boat. G, seeking more legislative support. Or H, other. So something that's not up here, something we haven't thought of, or something that you're already doing. So again, which of these could you reasonably pursue? So it's within your reach to pursue this. It's not just a fantasy unicorn floating in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, I'm gonna read them one more time. A, let me read the question actually. Which of the following innovation strategies could you reasonably pursue that would improve your chances of surviving in your sector? A, direct marketing, such as selling directly to the public. B, alternative oyster culture. C, ecotourism. D, pursuing new species. E, improving product quality, so something that can be done on the boat. F, microprocessing and packaging, so something that could be done off the boat. G, seeking more legislative support. Or H, other, something else. Okay. About 5 more seconds for Mr. Rodney to put in all of his answer choices.
I'm just trying to get one, and it won't register.
I really do think it's the distance thing of you being far away.
I hope it's not a lot, because if it is, my dog will probably freeze it.
Well, I don't think it's that. All right. All right, I'm going to close the poll. Let's see some answers. So, over 50% of you chose seeking more legislative support. So, for the panel, 57% chose seeking more legislative support. They could reasonably pursue to improve their chances of surviving. We had 18% for direct marketing, 7% for ecotourism, 7% for improving product quality on the boat, 7% again for microprocessing, so off the boat, and then 4% said other.
And no one said pursuing new species, which can be very expensive. And no one said alternative oyster culture. Oh, Brandy. No one picked yours.
We got enough species now.
So,
They took away from us.
so panel, what do you feel, what made you feel like you could take that next step? What made you feel confident enough to say that I'm going to try something new or something different?
My son, he wants to do the dried shrimp, so we pursued that. You know, we saw a few other people kind of successful in it, so it was more profit for the shrimpers. You know, so we trying that. So just the next generation coming up.
So we went into a little bit of ecotourism, but we started out, and it takes a while to get into it because it's not just as simple as it sounds. Like, oh, okay, we do the tours. Then COVID hit because we had grown a little bit, and then COVID hit and it stopped everything in its tracks. And so now we're just kind of we're on the scale of trying to grow again. So we work with our tourism people, but to be honest, this question has everything to do with, we have 2 groups, which we have SSA and we have, which is a regional shrimpers group, and we have ASPR, which is a processing group. And, you know, to my looking at this, I cannot understand for the life of me why they wouldn't just get up off their behinds and get a suit going against these countries that were dumping on us. I mean, they can see it, that's their job, is to look at it. And so the last time that happened, it actually pulled our price up for a good while. And you know, you had bird money and stuff like that, and it's not about the bird money at this point, it's just about getting the prices up. So I knew that AC has been asking questions of SSA and different people in that part of it. But it takes a while to get it done. But my God, if they had started on it last year, we wouldn't be waiting this year to start at the beginning again. So some issues that we have with that are those two groups not doing their part, not getting up and getting that done. because every one of these things takes time and money and loans, and we're going at it again.
And 57% of the audience overwhelmingly agrees with you. So, just speaking sort of freely here, seeking more legislative support is probably the cheapest option, the least amount of time consuming, but maybe we should view it as sort of more time consuming. Maybe we should view it as, as an industry to spend more time sort of seeking that support. It seems to be because it's very important to you guys.
The legislature to stop some of the damn imports.
Yes. All right. Next question, number 15. So which of the following would be the most beneficial in assisting you to grow your business? So this is one of those where we're asking you to choose one answer. So the poll is now open, pictures up. So which of the following would be most beneficial to assisting you to grow your business? A, small business loans. B, reducing state and federal regulations. C, training. This could be business training, training in technology, training for regulatory measures. D, mentor programs. E, incentives for business development or growth. F, attending more industry meetings. Or G, other. So I'm going to read them one more time. So A, small business loans. B, reducing state federal regulations. C, training. D, mentor programs. E, incentives for business development and business growth. F, attending more industry meetings to become more knowledgeable about what's going on and what's impacting your fishery. Or G, other. All right, about 10 more seconds. I don't see too many clickers in the air. All right, 3, 2, 1. So again, we have an overwhelming winner of more than 50%. So 57% of our audience chose E, incentives for business development and growth. So we had 4% choose small business loans. B, reducing state and federal regulations was 30%. 0% for training, mentor programs, and also attending more fishery meetings. And then 9% said other. So I'm going to turn it to Dominique and our panel.
Okay, panel. So let's look at this question, like, what do you wish you would have had to help your business grow? What is something that when you were starting out, or you're really getting something started now, what do you wish you had to help you move your business forward?
A one-stop shop, meaning like you're kind of in an array of going all over the place. You don't realize that.
Kim, can you speak in the mic? It's kind of hard to hear.
You don't realize that you have to go and get an occupational license, or you didn't realize you had to go get a sales tax from state, from parish. Every parish you go into, what you have to do, like even with wildlife and fishery licensing department, you have to get certain licenses, and licensing bureau, and the licensing part is not the people to ask, because they do not know either. That's what I've come across. You actually call an enforcement agency to get that, but on the other part of it, it's knowing, is DEQ involved in it, is EPA involved in it, so there is no one-stop shop.
Yeah, when we first started the business, it's like, okay, this is all our bills, but no, like, as you stay in business and say, no, this one needs this, and this one, and everybody has their hand out, and then before you know it, you got all these bills every month, and you're like, oh my God, how did this occur? So, just maybe to help lighten the load of that, that would help our businesses. I think it discourages a lot of the younger generation. They see us, how much we struggle, how much our bills are every month, and they're like, oh my God, are we gonna be able to survive this, And a few of them take the torch and say, we're gonna do it, but there's very few that are willing to take that challenge because of all the rules, regulations, licenses, permits, etc.
So it does sound like training may be important to you guys, or like maybe a punch list of things you have to do or check off.
To me, that was just something you gotta go through.
Mhm.
It's something you have to do as a business owner.
It's punch list. It's punch list. It's having that brochure in the front of you, knowing what you want to do, and if you know that you're going to do a certain thing, like in tourism, what do you have to go through to do that? If you are going to get your product into another state, what do you have to, because you're thinking, well, I'm just going to drive it over there. No, you're not. So there's different things that you have to do in different sectors of it. So the state does not have anything that is out there for people to, to go to, like weights and measurements. You have to, there's specific things that you have to do for each thing that you're going to move forward.
For me, I think training has a lot to do with it, mentor programs, incentives. Like especially with oysters, they want everybody to get into aquaculture, figure out how you can stay in the oyster business, but reinvent yourself, like going the aquaculture way, which is something we did, but you don't realize how hard it is. You don't have, I think, like a mentorship, okay, so you want a license, but before you get a license or before a state helps you with anything or grants, maybe you work with another farmer for 6 months so you see what you're really getting into. I think hands-on experience, because the wild oysters compared to our aquaculture, me personally, I don't get out and physically do either one, but from listening to the guys in my family, they rather do wild oysters because aquaculture is
It's something that they know.
that much more manual labor. It's way more labor intensive. And it's just, you want people to put money into it, you want them to invest into that business, but then you don't want them to invest in the business and turn around a year later and then decide that they don't want to do it.
This is one of the things, it looks all nice and pretty in a picture right here, but there's a lot of crawling, scraping knees, and when you get into it, that you did not even recognize what would be happening.
Charlie?
Well, we're gonna take it back a couple of notches. We're talking about regulations. Regulation had